All right, here we are. Let's get started on the staging. You should start your day every day like this with an empty truck, your blankets folded, and ready to receive your new load. So let's begin. Okay, so you got the truck door open and you're ready to start loading for a staging. You would come over, get your list for today, check that your list has the tape color that you're looking for the items that you will receive for the rooms that you're going to load onto your truck. Check the address and make sure that it's the correct address for today that you're going to, and the date. Then I like to start with one room at the top, get all the items for that room, and then I would mark those items as I got them with a check. Now, once you mark one check here, like I have done, you can bring it over to your staging area here just before you put it on the truck, or you can put it directly on the truck and load the truck as you bring those items over. But it's best to just bring them over to the staging area because there's a certain way that you need to load those items so that when you take them off the truck at the staging, they are in the proper order for the stagers as you load them. I'll put either the chairs right here or the bed and box frame. Okay, but if you packing against the wall, we'll leave right there.
I'm gonna put a bike on.
Okay. And so whenever we pack against the wall, we just want to make sure that we have something on the back of the furniture or whatever side of the furniture that is touching the wall. And when you're starting or whenever you're packing, you want to think of it like you're making a brick wall. So the furniture is like it's brick. So you want to just make sure you fill in as much space as possible. And then once you have that first course or that first layer, right there, you can either move forward or move up depending on the amount of furniture that you have. And that's why he's using 2 blankets, because we want to cover the entire parts that are touching the wall. So he wants to cover this whole corner here and the back side that will be touching the wall. Even though it's the back, we still want to protect it because the tops also touch the back of the wall. So cover the whole thing. I'm going to push it over. Come over some more. Yep. And you want to get, when you're packing in your corners, especially if you're starting in the corner, you want to make sure you're all the way back to the wall and then you're all the way over to that side so you know exactly how much space you have, and you want it to be tight so that it doesn't move and shift as you drive down the road. So it's good to start tight to the wall, start tight to your wall, both on the side and the back. And as you're loading, you want to think about where you want to put your next piece. And if you don't have a place thought of when you put your next or bring your next piece on, then you can always set it to the side until you have enough pieces to begin making your next course or your next wall, via upward or down or outward towards the end of the truck. So as you're packing, you're just looking at this like a game, Tetris. Okay, where can I slide this piece upward, downward, sideways, backwards, that it will be level and it will be safe from not being damaged. But I also want to remember the other pieces that I'm putting in and how they will fit into the truck. And then protecting it via using blankets or straps to strap it to the wall or hold it in the position that you want to place it in until you have other furniture to lock it in, that locks it in that place and won't allow it to move forward or backwards as you drop down the road. And a good thought is to, when you're building a wall, you want that wall to be flat. So if it's flat, then you know it's like you just took away some space, but your wall is flat. So you know your next piece you can just set right flat, that flat side against the other flat side, and it meets together. So like it right there?
Yeah. Do we need to throw a blanket on the bear's office?
Yeah, I want to start doing that. So like the corners, anything that's touching the walls, you want to kind of have a blanket over it, at least that back side that's touching the wall and that back corner that's touching the front wall. So I'll put this here and you can probably cover both of them with a blanket. And then we'll slide it all the way back and lock it in. Because we don't usually have a problem with these rubbing on our truck, but I know on around the town they got the mattresses got messed up. I'll push it back. Okay, so you'll get your next piece, put that on, so we'll get the full wall going. This is your wall, so you can build it how you feel comfortable. But you don't want things to slide out of place. And if you're going to secure just that wall, then how can you lock them together? How would you secure it that nothing on that wall would move? What Romello is working on is securing that dresser to the corner so that it doesn't shift left or right because it is a heavier piece. So as you drive down the road, even though it's carpet on the ground, there's a possibility that it may shift. So we always operate on the side of being safe rather than being sorry that we broke something. So if you have the straps available, definitely put them to use. But if you know you only have 1 or 2 straps, you want to think about that and how much stuff you have and where you need to put those straps to lock everything in and keep it tight. And if there's any other alternatives, maybe a piece of furniture or maybe the way that you stack it will lock it in. Then maybe then you can only use a strap across the whole front. But it's something to think about when you're packing. How you're going to secure the load once the load is complete. So again, he's going up against the wall, so we want to make sure that we got the back, whatever parts that are touching, that's secured. Even if it's touching another piece, especially if it's like a soft fabric, we want to make sure we have something to cover and protect that fabric from touching the other objects, via a strap, via the wall, via another piece of furniture, so that they don't rub together. And it's okay to think about what you're doing. And take your time. Consider whether you put it in the right position that it's going to stay, and how it's going to look going down the road, how the weight may shift. So take your time and think about what you're doing as you're loading, because it makes a difference sometimes whether you broke a piece or you didn't.
Mm-hmm. So these ones are different than the orange ones?
Yeah, those you have to press that down and then pull it through to get it tight. Yep, you have to press it down and pull it. Got it? What? You may not be able to do a loop on those, you may have to just do the whole. Yes, ma'am.
You went to that house all the way down in Columbus with us, right?
Yeah.
It's already under contract. Mm-hmm.
Somebody was ironing them down.
That was seriously just like last week.
Yeah. When's Tuesday?
We did it on a Thursday because I left that Friday.
Oh,
Yeah, last week.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
I did it the day before I went.
That's good, because some stuff is staying on the contract longer now. I mean, on market longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think we had something to do with it. You think our staging had something to do with it?
I was just testing things out.
Filming the packing process.
Mm. Cool.
This is an awkward place where there ain't no hook.
Mm-hmm. So in a situation, yeah, like that, what's it?
Because if I put it out too far, it ain't gonna be enough.
Right. So, like at some point, you gotta turn around and then abandon your idea and think of a better way to kind of lock stuff in. So a situation like this, I probably would have then said, okay, my chair fit. Oh, my chair ain't gonna fit. That ain't gonna work. So the way I started it, I didn't build that wall out right. So I may come back and say, all right, switch this around, put that one with the back up against steering. Back up against there is good. Yep. Then I'll take my other chair and flip that one down like that. Put that right on the ground, but then put a cover over this. And blanket over that. Cover that. And I'm gonna lock that in, but I probably would have I took that strap off. This is all I know I'm loading. This is all my pieces. I know I don't have much more, but this would have been your first wall right here. Now you could either took the mattresses and stack them on top of here, but if I know I only have these 5 pieces, then I'm gonna just take this and probably throw it down like that to lock all this in. This one right here.
Yeah, I thought about it. I didn't know how that shit was
Yep. Take that. Then I will take my hook around here. So you always want to think like flat. I want to build out flat so I can get to that next spot. But if I can't get it flat, then what can I put in a spot that I have a hole in? Okay. See if you can get on the back side of that rest if you can. Up on the back.
Just start smooth.
Start smooth and then get your spot right there. Next one up. Yep. Yep. Not really gonna. Yeah. Take that like that. I only use the one strap and then all of that's locked in. So the chairs ain't gonna move. may rock a little bit, but it's not gonna stop it from sliding that way. And this is pushing this back, so it's not allowed to go that way forward. So I think I would be comfortable with that locked in that way. But again, like I started my wall to where this was flat. So even if I couldn't put the chairs there, maybe you wanted to keep the mattress because that's what was on first, then I would have just twisted the mattresses to go flat this way, right?
Yeah.
And then,
That's what I try to do, but the dresser's too long for it to go flat.
all right, then, yeah. So like, listen to
my
my.
next one's gonna flip it, the dresser, this way.
Mhm.
I guess flip the mattresses in.
But you would have been long. You would have been long this way.
Yeah.
So how would you have locked the dressers in? Let's say these are all the pieces that you had that you were loading for the day. You know, thinking about it in the whole sense, all the pieces that I have, and say, okay, how can I fit the pieces that I have? You could have maybe flipped this up, stood that up, and then went. Let's try it differently. Let's try it real quick. And this is sometimes you have to do that as you load. You got to think of different ways of loading it and kind of listen to what the furniture is telling you that you can do. If it doesn't fit, don't force it in there. You may need to take it out and do it a different way. Let's take off the shoulders out and get this and use this as an anchor piece. That's good. And whenever you do something that has feet, you want to take the feet and put those feet up against the wall. So with that in mind, we'll roll this up. Now I'm gonna push back to you. Stand it up. Now where I went. I went in the corner. Like that. Yeah, you could have did the beds in front of it and still. Hold on, let's do it off of the camera. Do it off the camera. So they can see. But I need more on this side because we got the trees over here. And I make sure my corners is covered pretty good. Now I could have put a blanket under that. Before I slid it up, before I slid it in the corner, I could have put a blanket under the dresser and then put a blanket on top. That would give me full coverage. But just for demonstration. Still a little tight. It's not fitting. Not fitting. Maybe I should change the direction of the chair. That'll work. Put the mattress in. See if that'll work. That locks that. Same situation. I'm gonna cover my piece. It's going against the wall or rubbing against something else. Lock that in like that. And then we can take our strap and strap that off too. But this isn't flat, right? So if you stay with what I said, this isn't flat. But I know this part is flat. I can build out from here till I get here and build out from that. Or maybe I want to go sideways. That fits right in that spot. So then you kind of start seeing it as shapes.
It's like you want to fill this since this is out. Want to even this shit out right here.
You want to fill that out if you can.
Yeah.
If you don't have anything to fill it out, then maybe you want to start building here and then get something soft to put the fill in right here. Or maybe you want to just strap from here to here. Strap that. If you have one strap, then just strap that so that this doesn't move. This section will stay in place and you can still maintain this wall right here. But I like to stay, if I pack it tight, I don't need to use a lot of straps. I should only really be using like the straps near the end of the pack versus using it kind of in the middle, because then you run out of straps and you need it at the end to hold everything in, and you don't have no straps. So it's kind of good to to pack it tight so that the furniture kind of holds itself in place along with the blankets. So even if I wanted to
put like some heavy shit.
yeah, I could, but I don't necessarily have to. If I find something that fits in here tightly, this will secure it. It won't move because I know I'm going to continue building out. So if I wanted to put something heavy in there to hold this, fine. That makes good sense. Maybe a couch. I stand my couch up, and my stand-up couch with the feet up against the wall, back up against the dresser. I know that'll hold that tight. Then yeah, I can maybe bring like a table or a chair, maybe put that up against here. That'll hold that tight, because when you stand things up, then you worried about the height of it coming back down, because now this has more leverage on the piece below it. So you might want to start then building up a little higher on your stack when you're bringing pieces in to then hold this all in. But the higher you go, you want to maintain that height going forward, moving to the front of the truck.
You don't want that tall shit to fall.
Yeah, because you don't want it, then you got a whole bunch of tall shit just come down on an avalanche. So think about it in a way that you will be driving down the road. You're going to be taking left and right turns. So you want to protect the furniture left and right. You'll be backing and moving forward. So you want to protect the furniture forward and backwards from falling on each other or moving or the load shifting left and right. So always listen to your furniture. When I say listen to your furniture, that means if I'm trying to put a piece in a place and it's not fitting, I'll probably have it in the wrong spot, or that's not the right piece to put in that place. So you flip it around a few times and it's not working, give it up. Just sit it on the side. That's not gonna fit in that spot. Go get you another piece. Maybe intentionally, okay, I know this piece will fit in there, so I'll go get that piece. Hey, helper, help me get this piece so we can put this in the truck and load out. So I don't have to sit and wait till that piece comes out. I get the piece that I need to fall into position. Now, if this is a staging we're going to, we have a particular way that they want you to load it, and I'll talk you through that on a different training. But
Yeah, that's what you're talking about yesterday, right? As far as
Yeah.
like, I guess like the accessories end up being in the front.
Yeah.
The first shit you're gonna take off.
your accessories gonna be last. Things like your dressers, your dining room tables, your dining chairs.
So they set that up first.
Yeah, you want that to kind of go on first.
Yeah.
So as you loading, your heavier pieces should naturally be in the front. Couches, desks, dressers, patio chairs, things that are not, the stages don't need immediately. We can kind of put near the back of the truck, back here in the back. But as you work to the front, you want the things that they're gonna need first to come off first when you're doing the staging. But if you're doing a D stage, it kind of doesn't matter because you know it's all going back to the warehouse. But you want to communicate with your stagers about where things are going if you don't know. Or the plan has not changed. So just remember when you're packing that you kind of want it kind of flat, like you see here, as you build out, and not too much where it's a kick out. But if it's a kick out, then you just know you have to build around that kick out. All right, so that's it for packing. Hold on, wait. I just wanted to stop, cut in real quick. Let's have a quick little sit down. I know this is a touchy subject for some, but let's just go over some quick basics. We are working in a moving industry. We do work around our customers, and oftentimes we are in their homes, in their personal space. So when you're dealing with personal space, you want to talk about personal hygiene. So one of the things that I suggest is that, washing every day, or at least wiping down your body to remove the sweat from the prior day, and the BO, body odor, is a good thing, especially when you know you're going to be in close contact with other individuals the next day or that day. One of the things I like to do is also bring a second t-shirt or a towel because I sweat profusely. I mean, it just pours down. If you know you fit into that category, or if you know that this may be an uncomfortable situation for you, you want to prepare. It's okay to carry a hygiene bag in the truck so that if you need to take 5 or 10 minutes, slide into the bathroom like Batman, swish, swish, quish, quish, change out your shirt, change out your shorts, get into a fresh pair of clothes, because the items that we are carrying need to maintain a decent condition. And if we're carrying that with sweat and we're getting our body odor on it, then we place that in the house, and guess what? Your sweat, your body odor has now been placed on that couch, and it will be carried forward. So we want to make sure that, one, we're carrying properly, in front of us, not on top of our heads, that our hands have been washed at least once or twice that day. We're not walking around with dirty black hands. And we also have clean body, and we're keeping it away from our shirts or our bodies if we can, because we have sweat so much during that move that it's now going to be transferred over to that piece of furniture. Just something to keep aware of, and I wanted to just hop in, slide that in there, just so you know, FYI, for your information, that we don't have to say, hey, you need to wipe down, or hey, change your shirt, because you're getting it wet all on the furniture. Back to your regularly scheduled program. All right, when we're talking about getting ready to go to a staging and we're packing the truck, these bins that you see here are going to be the last things that you're putting on the truck after you have packed everything else, because these will be the first that come off the truck when we enter the staging. So we get to the staging location, we pull up, we park, we have a safe location, we pulled our ramp out, we put out our rug mat inside where we will be walking when we first enter. Then we want to come back to the truck and start taking off these bins and those bags here that you see with the pillows and the decor items in them. So you have decor items in the pillows and the bags, and you have decor items here in your bins. So these should be near the back of the truck. So once you enter the staging, you're able to start pulling those items off, handing those off to the stagers, or taking them inside and placing them in the rooms that they go. Now, I'll take this tag for example. We will be or have talked about this. All the bins will have a tag on them marked as such. This is MB, which we're learning is that stands for master bedroom. So this bin here will be taken off. You'll see the MB on top, and that will go into the master bedroom. So you want to look and pay attention to the bins as you pick them up and take them into the house. That'll tell you what room they go into. If that bin is not marked, or maybe has 2 stickers on them, ask your stager where you want that bin to be placed so that they have access to it, able to get the stuff out quickly and place them where they need to go, so that you can then take the bins back to the truck after the staging is complete, so that those bins can return back to the warehouse. So again, these are the bins. Typically they'll be on a cart like this, so that you're able to just roll them over to the dock door and load on as you need, what you need, where you can put them accordingly, keeping all of that in mind as you're loading, because you have to know how much you're going to load, so you know how much space you have, and arrange your items according to the amount of space, so that you are prepared at the end to fill in with your soft items or your containers to fill your gaps in the back of the truck, meaning the first thing that comes off, you're filling those gaps, securing everything. And then you also want to be careful with these bins as well, because they have some padding to them, but it's not packed tight. It's packed well enough that it can ship, but you don't want to drop or slam or place those containers too hard on the floor, because they do have glass items in them that can break. So we want to be aware of those glass items and ensure that we are taking care when placing those items on the truck that we're not dropping them, and when placing those items inside the house, that we're not dropping them. And we want to make sure where we place those items, these bins, that they're not in a location where something can fall on them and break. Like this bin, it doesn't have a top on it. So we don't want to place anything on top of this bin that's open, but maybe the bins that are closed, you're able to put and stack something on top of. But if you see a bin like this that's open, then you want to ensure that we put that in the location where nothing can fall on top of it, and that we aren't placing anything on top of it as well, thinking that, oh, this will hold it, it's level, it's flat. But no, if it's jumping as you're riding down the road on the truck, guess what? It's like a hammer smashing down on glass. Whatever it's on top of, it will break. So just be aware of those items as you're loading them on the truck. Okay, so you are going to get your items so that you can bring them over to the staging area. One thing we want to look for are the tags on the items so that we can see what items we need to get. One example of a tag on an item that you would find when going to load the truck for staging is like this. It will be on the leg of the chairs or on the plastic of the couches. So you're looking for the green tag for today. And this particular tag says 2 for the living room, and we need 2 chairs, and you verify on your list, okay, I need 2 chairs, and the list will have a description of that chair. Maybe, I guess this is blue with studs, and maybe it'll say black legs or stained legs. So you would get 2 chairs, bring them over to your staging area, back over there, so that you can have those and check that off on the list. Now let's see another example of the tags that you might find looking for items that are going out to be staged. Another example of the tags that you might find looking for items is this one here. It may just be underneath. They couldn't reach all the way up to get to those benches, but these are the benches that you're looking for. And it says that you need 4 of these benches for the breakfast area. So you would get your ladder, roll your ladder over, walk up, and hand those 4 benches down to your helper so that they can be put over in the staging area. Well, now the way I like to do that is just hand all 4 down, and then both you and that helper would go over, walk those benches over, and place them in the staging area. Another example of tags that may be on the items that you are loading for your staging is, it would be like this. Marked entry. So you see that tag on the table, you know by the description on your sheet that this is the right table. It has the right color tag. So you just want to check those items. And as long as those look correct, pick that up, take it over to your staging area, and get ready to put that one on the truck. Now, not always will the bins be on the cart for you for your staging. They may be in this general vicinity, but you want to also make sure that you're just verifying that with your stager that's here, or with Rebecca if she's here, that these items have the proper tag and they are going out to the staging that you're going to. So you want to check and make sure that that item is going, even though it may not be on the cart. But as you can see, it is the proper color, and it is marked basement living room. So just communicate with your stager. Hey, are we taking all of these bins? Which bins are we taking? Verify that you have all your bins before leaving is a good rule of practice, because we want to communicate that we have everything, because when we get to the staging, they're going to ask you, hey, where's this? Where's that? Did you get this? Did you get that? And if you stick with your list and you check each item as you bring those items over to the staging area and or put them on the truck, we want to make sure that we have checked down everything on our list, and that list should be checked off. And then we can say, yes, I have checked off everything, and put it on the truck, so I know that I have everything on your truck. And I always like to then double check, go back, walk around, check the bins, maybe check even the areas, just to make sure that I did not forget or miss anything as I was moving around, or maybe got distracted when loading and didn't get all 4 of the chairs, or I missed a stool, or I missed a bin that maybe the stager wasn't complete with, but they just completed and just told me, hey, don't forget that bin over there, and I did. And we have to now come back. So in order to avoid that, take a second walk around, just make sure that you got everything, you didn't miss anything, or you don't have anything still in the aisle that you thought you put over in the staging area and put on the truck but did not. So it's always good to just take a second look around and make sure that you got everything. Okay, we just arrived at the location. We set up in a safe location, right next to where we need to enter to get our things inside. So as you can see, he's taking the bins off now, which are one of the last things that you would put on the truck, along with the art and the rugs. So your loading looks like you want to put your chairs, maybe your couches, some tables and desks on first when you start packing the truck. Then when you see you start getting to the middle, you should be about at your beds, headboards, end tables, side tables, and maybe some more chairs if necessary. But you want to kind of save your bins and your pillows for last, because those are the last things that you want to put on the truck, because those are the first things that are going to come off. The stagers need to have those first so that they can begin unpacking them, because those bins won't stay with the items inside. So as you see, the rugs are kind of there, locking everything in. And you use the bins. You don't want to stack anything on the open bins, but definitely the bins that have lids, you can put something on top of those depending on the amount of bins that you have. But remember, as you're packing, you're kind of just fitting everything into the square box with the intention that you want to lock it in place and to ensure that it gets there safely. And one caveat to that is that the bins, even though they're packed in plastic and placed inside the plastic bin, we don't want to slam, drop, or have those bins treated badly by banging up against the wall or banging up against the edge, because the items inside do have the potential to break. So as you can see from this video, I kind of have the mattress at the end, because you want to keep in mind you're going into a staging as if you're building the room for somebody to actually live in. But this is the idea. So we start at the bottom by bringing in the rugs and the decor items and the pillows and the covers for the mattresses and the art for the walls, because even though we don't take the art off till nearly last, but you're packing the truck with that in mind, to have those items kind of right at the ready, and they're the most delicate. So we want to make sure that anything that shifts on the load, that it won't shift directly on the items. And we have that in a very delicate position right over that rear axle, so that it doesn't have that much balancing or potential for braking. So keep that in mind as you're loading the truck. Like I said, the first things that go on are probably like chairs, dining room chairs, maybe a dining table. But then once you start getting to around the middle or near the end of the load of the heavy items that you're packing, you want to have like your mattress, your headboard. Definitely one of the last things that go on as well is your bed frame, because as you're building the room, you're going to put down the rug. You want to have your decor items, and if it's a bedroom, then you want to have the bed frame so that you can assemble the bed frame. Then you also want to have your box spring. So you bring those things in the order that you need them, and that's how you can control your staging so that you don't have everything in the house and then you're trying to work over top of the items that you already have in. You want to come in with the idea, just like you packed the truck, of building the room from the floor to the bed to the chairs surrounding the bed, and the core items like the end tables on the bed, or the end tables on the couch, or the coffee table in the living room, or the dining table in the dining room, or a console that's going to go by the front entrance. You kind of want to build the house the same way you're packing the truck, with the items that are kind of lastly needed to go on first, but the items that you need first, you want to take off from the back first. So as you can see, I have those softer items kind of packed in the corners, and you use those softer items to keep everything else in place and kind of locked in. It's okay if we smush those a little bit. We don't want to tear them or rub them up too much against anything hard, but we want to make sure that we can kind of use those as fillers to fill any space that may need to be filled. Like now I'm bringing in the dining room table because we have most of the rugs inside. We've torn the plastic off of those rugs, rolled those rugs out, and arranged it according to how the stager needs. Now, if you need help on something like this, definitely you can do it, but this location had a big door. I knew I could walk in with it, and the walk wasn't too bad with it, even though that looks like it's heavy. But the walk wasn't too bad up the stairs, so that's one thing to consider too as you're moving the furniture out. Where are you going with this item? Can I carry it by myself? Do I need help? Because we don't want to walk into a staging and have mattresses dragging on the floor, tables and chairs scraping the ends or the edges of doorways or hallways as we place the items in the location, because most of the time we're placing in new or just refinished homes. So we want to keep that glamour and glitz from the newness there for the new homeowner, and not have it look like, oh, somebody just moved out of here because look at this big scratch on the wall that they left for moving. We are professional movers, and we should operate with that professionalism in mind in the way that we carry things, just like we don't want to sweat and have our BO all over these items. We want to operate with that same mindset. So keep that in mind as you move these items in and out of the home. Okay, let's move on.